losses is something that, you know, have always been very difficult because I've always been a very competitive person. I never liked to lose. You know, I was like, it was impossible to play a board game with me when I was a child because I had to win. If I lost every single time, the board went flying up in the air, you know, but it was almost like spoiled in some ways, like I had to win every single time. And it helped me in jiu-jitsu in a lot of ways because I expected to win. I was very hard on myself. I had to win, I had to win. So when I did lose, it kind of really, it shook me. Like it's something that, you know, I didn't deal with very well. Like sometimes, like, you know, I'd lose an important fight and then send me bordered on depression because I couldn't fathom losing. I just hated losing so much. Because in my head, you know, I'm supposed to win. I put all my time and energy into this, you know, like this is what I love. I'm supposed to be the best in the world. And that right there hurt me in a lot of ways because I think that it prevented me from learning important lessons that I could have been learning from my losses instead of just being angry, just like focusing on what I did wrong. So to me, now it may seem like I'm full of it, but I lost 2 world titles to Roger when Roger was most active and in his prime. The final of the Worlds 2006 and 7. I lost to Roger both times. I got tapped both times, and I didn't score an advantage on the guy. Now, this was when I was, you know, people could score an advantage on me in practice. Like I was tapping everyone in practice, left, right, and center. I was flying. Like I was winning everything. I was doing really well. And then here he is, this guy who I can't score an advantage on, like not even close. I got smashed. Fought him 3 times, I got smashed 3 times. And I didn't know how to deal with it. Like I just like, what is happening? What am I doing wrong? Like what can I do different? And every time I fought him, I approached the fight differently, and the end result was exactly the same. I just couldn't do anything to this guy, you know? And my friends would try to console me by going, oh, he's doing that to everyone. Like that didn't matter a thing to me. To me, it's like, so what? Like, you know, and there's one year, 2007, where I could have gone down a weight class, and I chose not to because I wanted to fight him as a rematch from 2006, and I prepared myself as best I could. I had just won 80cc, so my confidence was through the roof. And I really walked in there thinking, believing that I was going to beat him, but I got smashed again. And it was months of like, it was on my mind for, you know, every night for months, and like I just couldn't stop thinking about it. Why did I lose? Why did I lose? Why did I lose? And the reason I lost is because he was better than me. You know, now the answer is pretty simple. He's just stronger, more dominant. He killed my game. I was trying to play butterfly hooks with him every time I was on bottom. It didn't work. So tactically, I made some mistakes. He had better judo than me, so I couldn't get on top of him. And when he closed the guard, I couldn't move. So all these reasons, those are the reasons why I lost. But instead of just being negative about it and just accepting the loss, what I did was like, what is it that he is doing that I'm not doing, right? And I picked up a lot from him, you know, even though I never exchanged words with him. I actually learned a lot from him. He was a very important teacher in my life because, you know, I remember the first time I fought him, typically jiu-jitsu was like, to me, very surf culture and like, you know, let's be friends and hang out, hang loose, you know, friends with all your opponents. And Roger was like staring me dead in the eye the whole time, kind of like people do before an MMA fight. And no one ever done that to me. And he's staring me in the eye. And then I'm looking down because it's really awkward. I'm like making eye contact with this guy. And I don't know if I should like look over my corner, like what do? I don't know if I look at him, if I smile, if I laugh. It threw me off in a way, but it taught me an important lesson because it showed me how important and how serious he was about that competition. Like he was like almost like dominating me in a lot of ways, like going like, this is more important to me than it is to you. That's what I got from that. And I still don't stare people down in jiu-jitsu, I don't like that, but it changed my mindset a little bit. This is serious business, man. This is fun. And we love the art, but this is very serious here. Like, this is my life here. This is not just a tournament. This is not adults rolling in pajamas, man. This is important stuff here. And I could see how much more serious he took the fight. Not that it wasn't important to me. That didn't change, but like it was his approach because it was war, like in his head. Like, I'm gonna win no matter what the cost is. And like it really changed my mindset from that day onwards. And I started training very differently. The other thing that was very important to me is I realized how tight he was. And in my head, something like pressure and like if you just mentioned strength to me, I would have like rolled my eyes because that's bad, right? Speed is bad, strength is bad, power is bad, tight is bad. Like jiu-jitsu is technical, right? And the lesson I learned from that fight was that there's no separation between technique and athletic ability. To me, like my definition of technique is the intelligent use of your athletic ability. And Roger was using his athletic ability very intelligently. He's very strong, like he's very tight, and it's very hard to move. I remember when Terere fought him, it was a year before, in 2005 maybe, I think he lost to Roger, and I asked him, like, Terere, what was it like? And I was like, Rob, the only thing I can move are my eyeballs. That's about it. Nothing else moved. And I'm thinking, man, that sounds like a lot of pressure. And I remember fighting Roger in 2006 and thinking the exact same thing. Like, yep, you're right. It's the only thing I can move are my eyes. That's about it. But what I started doing in practice is I started being so tight and putting so much pressure in practice. Like people started like, man, you're really strong, Rob. And I'm like, I'm not that strong, man. I'm just like being very aggressive and consistent about my pressure. So every time I rolled with people, it wasn't just about like just out positioning them. I had to be tight and precise and constant pressure the entire time I was on top, because that's what it felt being like under Roger. And it really took my game to a whole new level. Something as simple as that. But I really absorbed that lesson. It was on my mind all the time. I just didn't want to pass people's guard. I wanted to smash through their guard. And it took my guard passing game to the next level. So that's an example of how a defeat can actually work in your favor. Like if I had a time machine or the superpower to magically turn those fights, and instead of losing Roger twice, I would have 2 extra world titles, I would not do that, because I cherish the lesson more than I do those world titles. And it may sound like I'm full of it, but it taught me so much, just like the how serious, these tournaments are if you're a competitor. And, just taught me so much about how important it is to be dominant when you're on top and be tight and be aggressive about your pressure. And these are lessons that I try to teach my students, and I'm constantly teaching people this because I repeat it all the time because I understand how important they are. And I learned these lessons by losing.